when you take a look at the media dynamic, you guys remember when you were in Denver and you were in New York and you were in LA and San Jose, every MLS game was broadcast on local TV. And then you had a national deal with ESPN, with Univision and Fox most recently. Those local games, we had 500 local games and 100 national games. We couldn't come up with a way to solve the 500 because local television was almost cratering. And you guys follow this as people in the business. There is no market today that the leagues can lean into in local television. So the first thing we wanted to do is to put it all together. And by putting it all together, it gave us the opportunity to have a global package. And there's only one or two companies that do that then. Apple, by the way, Amazon had not yet been leaning in like that.
Netflix probably had
Netflix was not in the sports business.
Correct.
We were not at the best time to go out to the market. That is what it is. A lot of changes and disruption from then till now. Apple and we met, meeting with Tim Cook and meeting with Eddie Q, and they said, we think that there is a market for one package globally. You pick up your phone, whether it's an iPhone or whether it's an Android phone, you press a button in St. Petersburg, Florida, St. Petersburg, Russia, New York, Rio, wherever it might be. And that exists. In order to do that, they needed and believed there needed to be a subscription.
To be able to sustain it financially?
Support it financially.
Yeah, right.
I think there's been minimal talk about the changes or because people were not pleased. The changes are because you're always trying to do better. And I really mean that. I'm not being defensive in any way, Landon. It's no different than all the changes we've talked about for the last 45 minutes. We looked at the subscription ratings, and then when we had games on Apple TV Plus then, the ratings went up. Doesn't take a brain surgeon. Well, why don't we move from the subscription to Apple TV and just figure out a way to make that work economically? The term was we had a partnership with Apple where we were partners. If we hit certain numbers, we shared revenue. Once you get rid of the subscription, you're not sharing revenue anymore. So we were able to negotiate something that made sense for them, made sense for us. You changed the deal. Our cup was on Apple TV. We had 700,000 on average watching the MLS playoffs on Apple TV. Those are real numbers, guys, way more than we had even on linear when we were on ESPN and on Fox One. So, I think it's going to be a great deal. I love the technology. Apple, they're a badass company, Landon. The first 3 weeks, everybody's saying, I don't want to watch 12 games at once. Within a week, they came up with the multicast that now everybody has. We had iPhones shooting games. We're going to shoot a game with all iPhones, I hope, sometime next year. It was awesome. I mean, you looked up and you guys with like iPhone cameras. They're smart. They love sport. They just did an F1 deal. They've got a baseball deal. The future with them is bright. Shorter
So you're
deal.
optimistic.
Very optimistic.
Yeah. Okay,
very.
Great.